Welcome back to TGR News, guys. This is a great opportunity for me to be talking right now for, you know, free speech. Just understanding politics too. It's unique. I was watching InfoWars, finding myself just like, what am I watching? What am I listening to? And here they are out there talking to groups of people, constantly questioning this young girl from InfoWars. And I'm like, wow, really sets the pace when you sit here and get questioned 100,000 questions from the leftists, and especially when they're acting radical like they are with, aggressive voices and a very attentive action that is very close to, striking out and attacking people. It is very obvious if we pay attention to their actions out there that they don't put up with free speech. They don't like the opportunity to express your democracy, politics, or your freedom of thought or speech or anything like that. Obviously, they believe that their way is the way. Understanding politics, we've got to get down to that. We get it though. They want theirs respected, and they believe theirs is right. And here we are, saying that ours is right too. We're saying that, yeah, we get it, but what you're doing is wrong. So yeah, we're right and you're wrong. And here they are saying, no, you're wrong and we're right. It is a very interesting debate system and how that works. But when you get past those issues, when you get down to the nitty gritty and you start noticing, it's like, okay, we get you got numbers, we get you got votes, and we also get that you have an ability to make that happen. It's like when you face the opportunity to legalize something that was criminalized for years, and we'll take, child molestation, we'll take, pedophilia, and use that as an example. The basic understanding is that they had the numbers. They would fight the courts with, multitudes of people to legalize having sex with underage kids under age of 18, and marrying these kids. And it's obvious that, in their package of that, they would obviously have opportunity to use religion, an opportunity to use other nations as examples. But, in that package of that politics, it's funny about our country. When we face those type of typical situations, it's like, when we based our nation on family values, on morals, raising our kids to be kids and to grow into grown-ups, it doesn't, evaluate with these people, and it no longer, resolves to their agreements. And we face the reality also about them, able to, basically, hold on. Hate a Star Crunch, but that was right for the situation. But we're facing the situation for what it is. They have that understanding, they have that ability. Yeah, it does exist, but does it represent the United States of America? Does it represent our families? Does it represent the opportunities to our countries that we fought for this country for and fought for the freedoms to be? So I was standing out here just sitting here thinking, of course, opportunity strikes when you are thinking. And I just, like, wow, I'm sitting here watching this video and I'm just surprised. So many different questions coming through. Are you communist? Are you, well, that's what she said, I'm sorry. But anyways, just constant questions, are you fascist? Are you white nationalist? Are you American nationalist? It's just like, why would you ask so many dumb questions for? Does not the politics seem to be, observed by the media, which is true? Would it be that, as a libertarian for Alex Jones, that he would change his direction in voting if the right was as bad as the left is? And that's kind of, where I find myself in questioning, it's like, they're the media. Exactly, they are the media, and she is representing her media platform, of course. And of course, it's not a position for her to sit here and agree that she is a white nationalist or a fascist or anything like that. Of course not. I mean, this is something that devalues the American view, the American moral, the future of America. Obviously, a lot of people don't understand that. And of course, her standing out there for free speech, trying to get information on who respects free speech or how a protest goes during a free speech opportunity is a great ability for people. To recognize, how people are going to play out that situation. And it starts realizing, the situation for how people play it out after, you get that information, after you start, everything ends and you're able to, produce that opportunity. But, during that opportunity, once it comes at hand, you have to see that fact for what it was, just as the guy, was trying to explain in this video, basically, so you're all saying the same thing, regardless if you're white nationalist or you're a fascist or not. So basically, we're facing that situation that we're copying each other. We're saying the same things. There's a familiar area that we're keeping with the alt-right and the white nationalist issues. But can we change that? No, we can't. There's a lot of things we cannot change. Obviously, there is a real issue with the left. This is something that I find very entertaining, very understanding, because, it's like, here goes the guy. He's like, I am a communist, I am this, and he supports communism. And then he tries to re-ask the question again, are you still fascist? But, in the first place, why would you sit there and, endorse such a form of issues in our country that devalues democracy and devalues the opportunity for free speech and political opportunity for people? The very extremism on the left is no longer wanting to view the right separated from the alt-right. Everybody's just Nazis now on the right, which is completely understandable now, because we understand, how insane the left has gone, which we have not seen a particular part of the left, too much of the left actually representing a proper respect of democracy towards the right, or towards, the very citizens that have that free speech ability or, political choice. No, it's just everybody's the enemy. As we try to sit here and find the opportunity with Democrats, on the left side that understand the situation, that's great opportunity that we look for. And the reason why I really wanted to find the opportunity to talk about this is the reality of the situation, is finding that, we do recognize that there are good Democrats that understand the left's issues, the radical problem on that side, and that they also see the separation of issues from, the right and the alt-right. It's obvious, there is that opportunity there that a lot of Democrats out there are not in major multitudes, but they're there. It is obvious. But it's not that we turn to think that, that just the alt-right would destroy our opportunity for what we've always represented, more than the majority of the radical leftist Democratic Party has done themselves in multitudes. And we've watched it over and over and over with the riots, with the attacks at the rallies, or at free speech events, or even at times where misconstruction struck towards our police union, where they were shouting for the deaths of police officers. This is a reality that's been constant with the racism, even with white Americans being anti-white themselves, supporting black racism against whites. And it's a very unfortunate situation again. This is reality for us. Like I said, this is something that is really happening. And we try to say that, we respect your democracy. We do. We respect the Democratic Party. But there's an extent to that respect. And again, like I said, it is obvious that knowing that a lot of leftists kind of shimmer, not just calling themselves a communist, or calling themselves a liberal. They will call themselves a complete Democrat, radical, a complete Democrat, liberal, communist, which is obviously something that's supposed to trigger you off. Like, oh my God, you're a communist, I'm just going to start attacking you or something. No, it just never was that way. So I just wanted to find some understanding and put it out there. It's like, they think that, we say things to irritate them. Which, in my job, my theme and everything I deal with psychological warfare. It's just my deal. And hell, you could look throughout my whole fucking craft of everything I do on social media, and you'll realize real quick, I post shit just to post shit, and I say shit just to say shit that literally only an ignorant person would take the time to be like, oh my God, he's trying to trigger us, or just snap a person because they've already had that set mentality to be that ignorant. But it's something that psychological warfare is just like, it's a wake-up call. It is. It's like, why did me putting, a picture of a clown trigger you? Or putting a picture of Jesus Christ trigger you? Why is it that bad of an issue in your mentality to go that extreme? And why I don't want the answer, because I do know the answers to a lot of different those questions, because they come in multiple answers. But I mean, the reality is that, democracy is beautiful. Free speech is beautiful. Respecting the Democratic Party and respecting the Republican Party is a part of a policy. It's part of an understanding. It's something that you should always embrace. But recognizing the issues. Of course, there are racists, losers, KKK, fascists, losers on the right. And we agree there is. Hell, there's on the Democratic Party too. But, again, there's a major growth in black racism too on the left side. And no matter how much you love your black brother, your black friend, you've got to realize what they're spilling out their mouths and what they're choosing to do. Their actions, all the repercussions, and what it comes to people's reality is like, you can only win the battle for so long until the people you're targeting are going to turn around and be like, well, we already get your issues. We already found, a stable area to deal with you. It is about time that you start recognizing that, there's a majority in this world that's going to understand that. And they're going to see that. And you're going to be revealed for these issues, because it's normal. You have a problem. You have an issue. And another person has that same issue. Another person has that issue. Another person has that issue. Sooner or later, it's going to come out. And it's not going to be some made-up issue. It's not going to be a bunch of group of people sitting down, chalking it up on a board, saying, well, what issue should we create today, and throw it up on social media. It's not like that at all. And then, we try to think about these issues. We start thinking about, well, you said that right there, but, what if we talked about our reality, about the black man being, targeted by cops? How does that help us? I mean, there's a lot of them out there, so shouldn't you hate cops? No, you shouldn't. You should not hate cops just because there are bad uniforms. And there are people who don't do their jobs right. So you're a criminal. So there's a lot of criminals that feel like they got cheated. You got caught up on marijuana charges, which I know by heart, that through politics, a lot of people through, times, that even through being voted into, certain judges being voted in, it comes down to a point where judges crack down harder and they give people 42 years, 35 years for just an ounce of marijuana. And yeah, you would think, why that long for marijuana? Why there's harder drugs out there? And you feel cheated by the government. Of course you was cheated, but you don't need to give up your opportunity to make that out there. You've got to organize out there. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't care. I don't care about politics. I don't care about the government. I don't care about voting. You should have cared. You should have figured out how to do things properly. mean, we all fuck up. We all make mistakes, but it doesn't mean that we have to give up. You know, life is going to be that way. And life is always going to have its struggles and its trials, and sometimes it's even questionable days. But, you know, you've got to remember that, you know, there is a lot of opportunity there for, you know, not just understanding, but for taking action, and taking action the right way. Although I'm not here to preach to the choir, I'm not here to make a long nonsense video about this. You know, I'm just realizing that, you know, here's a young lady out there, and here's a bunch of group of people questioning her, asking her questions over and over. And at first, you know, the guy's like, no, I'm not a communist, right? Or hold on. He was like, it's none of your business. That's what he said. But here he is asking her, you know, her business. Now, how does that relate? It don't. You know, it's opportunity to understand that what they're doing and what these radical issues are happening, you know, is a very dangerous level of problems. You know, respecting democracy, respecting free speech is important. And I just don't want to ever get the picture wrong that, you know, there is no respect for Democrats or Republicans. And understanding, of course, you know, free speech, 100%, no matter if they are a black racist man or they are a white racist man supporting black power or white power, understanding that it exists, that's even better. It lets us know that there is something going on. Watching it grow bigger and bigger, as we have watched with the Black Lives Matter organizations, has been a very, you know, crazy, you know, sight to see. But, you know, we have seen also a large number of white supremacists too. And that's even insane to see racism and a growth on both sides. But, you know, it's just knowing that it's respected. It's just knowing that, of course, yeah. You know, Joe here, you know, he comes to jobs, you know, and he works about a couple of them. And I work at one of them with him. Yeah, I know Joe goes out there with a KKK flag. Bob over here. Yeah, I know Bob. Bob complains about being picked on all the time. Yeah, I work with him too. Yeah, Bob, you know, Bob has to go out there and say black power, and he hates white crackers and things like that, but that's the point, you know, that's the reality. We know who these people are, we know their issues, and we know that, you know, there's some part of form that we can reach out to. We got to find that ability to know, you know, ability to help. And I'm not saying that, you know, we're going to change people's minds, change people's hearts, change thousands and billions, but, you know, if we change one or two, three or four, and I'm not saying that's the reason behind free speech. Free speech is so much more than that. But, you know, just realizing even democracy, understanding the threat that faces against our democracy. You know, when it comes from the black power communist issues or the white power fascist issues. It's the point that we know. It's the point that we have that opportunity. So I just, you know, thought I'd sit here and talk about it, you know, just realize the situation out there again, you know, and just explain that. Yeah, of course, you know. There's obviously an alt-left. There's obviously a communistic and a socialistic issue on the left side too. Obviously, if you've not paid attention to the USA communist movement, and they have a website, and if you've not had paid attention to the socialist movement, the alt-right movement on the right side. But it doesn't always put every Democratic Party with that group or every Republican with that group. I mean, it is amazing to understand that. I mean, you take the time, you know, and continue to make the same decisions you're going to make. Or take the time to make a different decision. That's your choice. You know, I'm not here, you know, to completely change your mind. I'm just here to give you opportunity to understand that you can change your mind, because, you know, it's not as bad as you think it is. And it's not not as out there as you would believe, as everyone is just a Nazi and everyone is just a communist. It's not true at all. I mean, you got to look at the viewpoints and reality and the action going on, and why, if you have issues, why Hillary lost. Plain and simple. She made criminal acts. Her campaign made criminal acts. I mean, although her campaign was not disbanded and not recognized fully as, she should have been to be, taken down from being the #1 Democratic presidential campaign runner, but, obviously, she made it that far, but she lost because there are so many more issues, also behind that, and that deals with the radical left. That deals with the communistic problems. That dealt with the racism coming from the left. That targeted white people. It's the truth, 2016 was horrible. And yeah, we agree that, again, fascism's bad. But, it don't mean that you have to go out there and get violent, attack people, send the wrong messages, block free speech. There's so many better ways to tackle those issues. So many better ways. I mean, if we were to recognize, fascism in that form and fact, I mean, we would be better off lining them up to an execution style, death. And it's very unfortunate to say that, because we'd have to do the same with the communists. We'd have to do the same with everybody else that we don't agree with. And I'm not a tolerant person. I'm not. I tolerate a lot of different things. I got my tolerations in different ways. I don't say I'm a tolerant person. I tolerate this and this and that and that. Of course, I tolerate a lot of things, but it's the point that we recognize the issue. We point that we correct problems and not make them worse. And we've got to find an ability to put a stopping point to the aggressive, tensions between each other. You don't want to continue butting heads. And I think that's what I'm really trying to say here, especially because, you can call everyone, fascist, KKK, Nazi on the right, all you want. We can call everyone communistic, radical left, all this other good stuff. And yeah, there is a major movement on the left for this radical politics and radical belief that is un-American, unformal to our country. I mean, it is unlogical. And yeah, it's unfair for me to have to sit here and say that. I guess it is better for you to wake up one day and realize that. But it's because that, it's unfair that I have to say it. It's unfair that you need that explanation. But it's the truth. You're going to have to face, the actions of what y'all are choosing sooner or later. Just like the guy said, I guess we're all associated. We're all saying the same thing. So we're all guilty of being whatever he wants to call us to be. But it doesn't mean that we are. And it's just like telling an FBI agent or telling an undercover cop that, he is as bad as the drug dealer. Calling him a drug dealer and arresting him because he's out there trying to catch people and help them, or trying to stop drugs going onto the streets. It's ridiculous. It's sad. It's pathetic. I mean, respect free speech, respect democracy, and stop the communism. And of course, do not support fascism. It is a reality wake up for you all. I mean, it is, something that you need to understand. How do you handle it? I mean, there's so many different ways. But why go out there and just attack random people that are constitutionalists? Attack people that are, nationalists themselves, and so they're white. Doesn't make them complete white nationalist supremacists. It just means they love their country, love their constitution, and they're about their free speech. It's about the opportunity. And yeah, I have to say it. It could continue going the way it's going to go, or we could change the direction of these issues and stop pondering, the good people of this country. Quit attacking the good opportunities that this country has always offered. And if you have issues with capitalism, you got to remember, every time you sit there and try to capitalize on a situation, dragging people into arguments and ask them questions of who they are and what they support, you know, and when you sit here and try to boycott businesses and start your own businesses, or you try to take over restaurants or any type of business, you know, you're trying to capitalize. You're trying to take over businesses. You're trying to run companies. You're trying to, you know, capitalize on people, companies, economy, politics. You're a capitalist yourself. There's no point in arguing with capitalism. But, you know, like I said, respect free speech. You know, respect, you know, democracy. And have a beer. Chill out. Alright, guys. Adios.